This is my new Vevor milling vise. It's got 5-inch jaws, a swivel base, hardened surface ground jaws, and it opens 5 inches. It's heavy too, at 23 kilos or just over 50 pounds. But if you need an even bigger clamping envelope, like most vices of this nature, you can reposition the static and dynamic jaws to the outside, which is really useful if you need to face up a piece of plate and cheat death with something like a fly cutter. Maximum clamping force from the specs is 24 kilonewtons, which is roughly one Hilux carrying a bit of load, or 39 standardised strippers. Being Australian, I of course use the standardised metric D-cup stripper for most references of this nature, 16 to the tonne, or whatever it is, take away Albo's IQ, 613 newtons per stripper, of course. But regions vary, obviously, and you do you, dude. So as I see it, this vice has 2 superpowers. Number 1, you can afford it. And let's face it, home machining is a never-ending cavalcade of outgoing expenditure. Any opportunity to save money if it doesn't cost you in precision is absolutely worthwhile, which brings us to number 2, which is that the precision is way better than most of us need for machining in our home DIY fat cave environments. A roughly equivalent Vertex vise from Taiwan is going to cost you about triple the price, even if you can get it on sale. I upgraded to this Vevor vise from a 4-inch Vertex vise because I needed the larger capacity. The jump from 4 inches to 5 inches is bigger than the 25% dimension increase suggests, and that's because it's 25% in X and 25% in Y and 25% in Z. When you multiply that all out, 1.25 times 1.25 times 1.25 is roughly double the volume, and that's why when you make a small difference to something like the notional dimension of a vise, when you actually stick it on the table and have a look at it, it's quite significant. In my testing, this vise was dead flat across the x-axis when I set a precision 123 block in it and swept it with a dial indicator, like amazingly flat. Just to disambiguate for a moment, when I'm talking about dead flat, I'm actually talking about the x and the y, which forms a plane, and that's the way the table operates in x and y. And when I say dead flat, I actually mean, is it orthogonal to the z-axis, which is essentially spindle goes down, spindle goes up. The dynamic jaw resisted lifting up pretty well when I tested it with an indicator. It rose only about 25 microns when heavily clamped. That's about 1/1000 of an inch when clamping the 2-inch width of a precision 123 block. On the y-axis, it was about 50 microns off dead flat when I swept it across the 50mm width of the block. So let's talk about the deviation from bang on that I measured in y. That matters because you have to decide if it's significant to you or not in the context of the machining that you're going to do. Y is this one. So moving across the frame as you look at it. The measurement was 50 microns in roughly 50mm of block sitting here, and that's the same in freedoms as 2/1000 in 2 inches, okay? So fortuitously enough, in either case, it's easy to crunch the numbers on that. That's about 1 in 1,000 worth of angular deviation. I'd suggest that that is like getting yo level, and if yo level is 1 meter long and you get it bang on, and then you go ahead and you jack one end up by 1mm, which is pretty insignificant for most jobs, I'd suggest, that's the kind of angular deviation we are talking about here. I'd suggest that this is beyond accurate enough for most home machining. Maybe insufficient for aerospace, but I don't know about you. I'm not doing too much aerospace here in my fat cave, and I suspect neither are you. So why pay for aerospace levels of precision when you're actually sitting down here doing Fat Cave. The first job I did with it was making these non-marring soft jaws in brass for an old Dawn bench vise that I've got in the hospital right now. These ghetto parallel grooves in the brass jaws allow you to clamp thin stock pretty easily. I just sliced up the brass bar, clamped the two bits together in the Vevor vise, found centre with a wiggler and took 5 passes down the guts with a 10mm 4-flute cobalt alloy high-speed steel end mill, each 1mm depth of cut. That produced a 5mm by 5mm cutout shelf in each jaw, which will provide positive clamping loads for thin stock when you need to hold it flat, as well as being durable, and it's not going to mar up any of the parts that I work on. I've used this design before and it works really well. You should really consider making some of these brass jaws for your home shop. It's a real upgrade for a lot of the work that you're likely to do in the DIY domain, like unless you're a blacksmith. And it's hardly as if you're required by law or something to throw away the hardened jaws that come with the average bench vise, so you'll still have that option depending on the work at hand. And then all I've got to do, of course, is fit new jaws to old vise, which sounds simple, but the threads are munted, so I'm going to have to drill them, tap them and helicoil them for M8 by 1.25 and fit some Allen socket countersunk head cap screws to hold the jaws in place. That'll be fun. I'll have to make some transfer screws to locate the holes onto the jaws, and when that is all finished, I gotta fix this. Check this out. Look down here. Like, there's some atrocious vertical lift going on there in the dynamic jaw slideway, is there not? And the new Vevor vise is gonna come in super handy, building the shim that fits in there just Goldilocks to take out this atrocious lift. So we might cover all that on the channel as well. Anyway, I give the new Vevor vise 9.5 points out of a possible 10 for the precision it delivers in the context of Fat Cave ops. You don't need more than that for this kind of work. And I love this kind of work, giving something old and glorious like this a new life. It just makes you feel good, and the rest of the world can take a break. Your life can be less of the Truman Show and you can be concentrating on stuff that really matters, kind of thing. I give it 13 points, however, out of a possible 10, that new vise, in terms of its amazing affordability, because competitors are so expensive. You need a good milling vise, and there's no shortage of machining this and machining that you can spend money on, but you don't need to spend more than $163 to get a decent milling vise for doing this kind of work. That's the core message. I'll have a link and a discount code for you in the description if you want one. Thanks for sticking with me on the video, and let me know in the comments if you want me to keep going with this kind of video, like how to fix stuff, how to do applied engineering with reasonable precision in the home shop. If you want more of that, I got endless content for you on that. It just depends on how much you want to see me depart from automotive this and automotive that. I'd appreciate a little bit of feedback there in the comments. Otherwise, I'll catch you on the next one.